Hey everyone, welcome to Roll with Advantage, and welcome back to our show D10, where I take the topics you give me, and I roll a D10, and then I talk about that topic. I give you advice in 10 minutes or less. So, if you have anything you want to hear about, be sure to comment that below, because I would love to add things to my list as I'm starting to run out of topics. So, let's go ahead and transition to our document and see what we're going to be talking about. Okay, we're here. So this is the list we have so far. If we roll a 7, we won't be we'll be re-rolling, but this is what we got. So let's go ahead and go to the Blighted Warden example character sheet, which if you're interested in build videos, we did make one of those, and if people seem interested, we'll make more of them. But D&D is a game that's kind of hard to do build crafting in. Anyway, we are on a limited time, so let's not get too carried away. Here we go. And D10, roll 8. Finding a group of people who are free at the same time. That is by far the hardest one to talk about, because even for me, it's something I still struggle with. So let's go ahead and transition back, and let's talk about it. It's one of the most difficult topics to cover because, I mean, it plagues so many groups, and there's not an end-all, be-all solution, right? I can't sell you snake oil as a miracle tonic and tell you this right here will be your solution, and it's just not the way that it works. So I have 6 different strategies that I've used in the past that I've had a lot of luck with, so hopefully these will be helpful to you too. But with that, let's dive into the 6 things you can do. Number 1, if you are a player and your DMs keep quitting, here you go. You drop this. It's your DM card. Pick it up. It's time to pick up the mantle, because the thing is, you can be the reason why sessions don't get canceled anymore. You probably have a really good idea for a campaign. You've just never done it before and you're nervous. You have my permission now to do it. Go ahead. I mean, we have a whole bunch of advice videos here, and I mean, if you join our Discord server, we've got a ton of people who are more than willing to give you advice and feedback on your campaign ideas if you are that nervous. We've got a lot of DMs who've been playing for a very long time who are, I like to think, pretty friendly, myself included. So if you're nervous, just reach out for help. And I promise you're going to run a great game. Step number 2, if talking schedules out doesn't work, use something like Google Calendar or Doodle. These are things that I used to use when I was in college and I was playing in person a lot more. Use these apps to find times that work for everyone. This is what I would do. We would have our session 0, and we would talk for, I mean, it was maybe like an hour or two, like a quarter to a half of the game. Game's normal time, and it was easy to get people together for a session 0 because they're all excited, right? They're excited to play, so they're all going to show up. So after everybody gets done making their characters, talking about backstories, yada, 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 then what you do is you say, hey guys, right at the end here, last 20 minutes, I want us to all kind of sign up for Doodle or go through Google Calendar and figure out what the best time is for us to play for 3 to 4 hours every week or every other week. By doing this at session 0 when everybody's excited, you are going to get the most honest answers out of people about when they're free. And if everybody agrees to a time that works for them, well, then you're golden. And it'll last for 4 or 5 months until something inevitably comes up and you'll have to pivot. But for that time, you'll actually be able to start and play consistently. And if you hook them in, well, then they're going to make the time to play the game. Cut out dead weight. Number 3. If you have one person that is constantly missing, it might be time to cut them from the campaign. And this can be hard, especially if they're a friend from outside of the game or a relative. That can be a difficult conversation to have. But if you have one person who's the reason why you seem to not be ever able to play, then the only way to fix that is to remove the problem, provided you have tried addressing that with them in private, separately, right? If you've never even tried to talk to the person about not showing up, then don't immediately kick them out of the group. Talk to them. Hey, Kayla, I noticed that you've been missing some sessions. Is everything okay? Is there anything that you need to talk to me about? I want you to be there. I really enjoyed playing with you, but I just want to make sure, see if there's anything that I can do to help. Like I said, I just noticed you've been missing, and I was just curious if you wanted to talk about it. 99.9% of the time, that is enough, where they'll say, yeah, sorry, I've just been really struggling to connect, or I've just been really busy at home, but it should be done in a couple of weeks, so maybe I should just take a little hiatus and then come back after that. Boom, problem solved. There are so many problems that exist in the world of doing things with other people that could be resolved by simply communicating. So use communication before you do anything drastic. because then the only person that looks like an asshole here is you, and you don't want to wear an ass hat. You want to remove those from your game. So communicate, talk. Number 4, consider running a West Marches style of game. Now, if you're not familiar, Matthew Colville, he's a D&D advice creator that's been around for a while. He made a video about it. It's great. Check it out here. Pretty much, the concept is if you have like 10 or 12 people that want to play, which crazy, I know, but they all kind of have spotty schedules where you never know when all of them are going to be free. If you offer to run a West Marches style of game, pretty much all your players are part of an adventuring guild or they work for an adventuring company, something like that. And every week, the players that show up, they go on an adventure. Now, most of the times, these should just be like a one-shot adventure, so that way the players that show up play something, they do it to completion, and then they return to the guild hall, and then the players that come the next week or the week after that, they'll have a new adventure that they can go on. And you can still do an interconnected storytelling between those one-shots. They don't need to be completely separate from one another. You can still do a lot with those. But it's a great way to make sure that your players are still able to play, that you're still able to DM, and everybody still gets to have fun. It's just in a different format than what we normally perceive as D&D, which is a long spanning campaign played every single week. Sometimes that just doesn't work, and that is okay. Number 5, come up with a creative solution using in-game lore and magic. This is kind of an offshoot of the previous point, but make sure that, it's a magical world. If you have a wild magic sorcerer that has a spotty schedule, they keep teleporting in and out of reality. They keep disappearing, and the adventure continues on. Or maybe you have a barbarian that keeps getting called back to his tribe, or a druid that can't control her wild shapes. So every once in a while she turns into a bird and flies away, and then she comes back the next session. These are things that are easy to do. The only downside is you have to fill them in when they get back about what happened, but that can be kind of fun too, because a lot happens in a D&D session sometimes. One session, you are saving the village from the goblins that are attacking the blacksmith, and then the next day, you're operating in a coup against the king. Shit happens, I guess. Because, like I've said before, if they can't make it, don't let it stop the fun. D&D can be so silly and whimsical, so you might as well lean into the whimsical to make your life easier and get on with the game. Because somebody not being there will only be relevant for the first 5 or 10 minutes, and then you know what? You'll forget. You'll get into the groove, and the game will keep going. Number 6, start playing online with a new group of people. This can be hard. Your high school friends, your college friends, you've been playing with them forever, but, they had kids, they moved away, and now, nobody can ever make it. Everybody's too busy, except for you. So go to a website, Roll20 or other resources, and post your game there. Say, hey, I can run this game weekly, Thursday nights from 8 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. And then people who apply to your game, which we have a video series on that, which I'll link the first video there about finding good players on an LFG post. But they'll apply and they'll say, yeah, I can make it. And you will, for the first 6 months of that campaign, you'll run into no issues. Because people sign up with the intention of, okay, yep, I can be there for this. I know full well that my calendar is clear on that date, on that time, consistently, so that's what I'm going to sign up for. Some people do not, which is why the interview process is so important, which is what that video series is about. So make sure that you vet people properly and make sure they understand when the game is. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to say here very well might be another issue, and I don't mean to dole out anxiety here, but sometimes people missing consistently is indicative of a bigger issue. And that issue could be that people just don't find your games fun. And like I said, I'm not trying to make you anxious, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but that could be the problem. If people aren't having fun consistently, then they might not want to be there. So at that point, we need to do some soul searching, right? We need to ask the question, okay, why aren't people finding my games fun? And think about it for a bit. Try and brainstorm reasons. And then if you can't think of anything, like I said in a previous point, it might be time to go talk to your players and say, hey guys, I know we've kind of been struggling to show up. Is everyone still enjoying themselves? If not, you can message me privately. You can, here's a Google form, submit it anonymously. I just want to know, what can I do better? Because the only way we can grow as people is to look inwardly, to question ourselves, and listening to feedback, even if we don't necessarily agree with it. It's one of the hardest things out there. Growth is so incredibly painful and tough, but I promise you, for the good of your game, for the good of your life, you can do it. It's hard, but you got it. So that is what you can do. There were a couple life lessons mixed into this D&D advice, but hopefully they're helpful to you, and hopefully this will help you have a little bit more consistency to your games. Remember, sometimes when people miss, it's not malicious, even though it might feel like it. So just try and communicate, try and balance it, and try your best to just move on. Keep going with the game. Be a tool, be a representative of fun for the people that do show up. Don't punish everyone just because of one person, right? I mean, we all hated that in school when teachers did that. So don't punish the good kids because the bad kids aren't showing up, right? Which makes sense to me. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I think this might be over 10 minutes. If it is, we might have to change the show to D20 or D12. We'll see. We'll just keep moving up the dice. D100, a 99-minute episode one day. Who knows? If you have anything you'd like to hear me talk about, comment that below. Join our Discord server, yada, yada, yada. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.